Hey, it's Aaron from GameEnthus.com, and in this video, I'm going to be reviewing Mission Ends of the Earth. Mission Ends of the Earth is a Christian-themed tile placement game as published by Bible Games Central. Players are going to be gathering up resources and trying to deliver them along with the gospel, hence the Mission Ends of the Earth, to share the gospel, Jesus Christ, to as many people as possible, which is sort of the backdrop of the game. Let me show you how it works. So as I mentioned in the introduction, Mission Ends of the Earth is a Christian-themed tile placement game where the theme revolves around missionaries, people who have been tasked with spreading the gospel, helping people. It could be local to where their church is. It could be someplace on the complete other side of the world. The point is they are traveling to go places to help people deliver the gospel, so on and so forth. So that's what this game really centers around. These are the major components. We have a small starting board where you're going to have various cities, Daisman, Bora, let me just rotate this here, Antolon, and Notau, or Notu, excuse me. And players are going to be starting at one of these spots. The game does play up to 6 players. I only have 2 out here now, but there's 4 other meeples there. Players are going to be starting from one of the 6 starting points and placing tiles to ultimately attempt to connect their starting point to the city to which their missionary work will be done. So in addition to traveling to certain cities, missionaries are also going to be tasked with gathering a certain number of resources to bring to those cities. And those resources are as follows. We have food, Bibles, clothes, water, fuel, tools, medicine, solar lamps, and school supplies. So players will be trying to gather combinations of these 9 resources in order to bring to the city. So getting to the city alone isn't it. You have to make sure you have all of the required resources, which will be dictated on these cards. So there's only 4 cities, so there's different combinations of the resources that are going to be needed. There's always going to be 5 resources needed. So this one is travel to Daisman to share the gospel and bless the villagers with these resources. And the resources are tools, water, Bibles, medicine, and solar lamps. There are regular tiles in which if players stop on those tiles, they will pick up that resource. So this, if you stop on this tile, you pick up medicine. You stop on this tile, you pick up Bible. If you stop on this tile, you pick up school supplies. But there's also crises tiles, which have the same icons, but they just happen to have things crossed out. So you're probably wondering, in a Christian-themed game about missionaries, what is the mechanic that's going to facilitate players giving up resources? Which is something I thought about when I was playing this game with my daughter, my youngest daughter. And thematically, the crisis tiles are about a need greater than the one that you're currently aiding in. So crisis tiles thematically just mean there's a crisis and someone needs medicine more than the mission that you're currently on. So that means all players who have medicine in front of them, having gathered it from a space prior turn, would put it back into the supply, which thematically just means you are giving up something you've gathered for someone else for a greater good, for someone else who needs it even more. So that's how that works out thematically. It makes sense. It's just, at first I was like, wait a minute, how does that work? But it makes sense. Same with, somebody needs more Bibles, somebody needs solar lamps more than someone else. And that is what it is. And there's also airstrip tiles, which allow you to travel via a plane from one tile with a airstrip logo on it to another. So if there's only one out, that doesn't do anybody really that much good. But once there's others out, you can sort of zip between spots. So if your city is here, but you happen to be way over here, maybe you can get here. And there's an airstrip tile here. on your turn, you could travel, get to here, and then kind of zip all the way over here to get wherever else it is that you need to go. So that's basically how the game works. So I was running through a couple of turns, and then I'll tell you my thoughts. Okay, this is what a two-player setup might look like. Every player would get a mission card, which is going to detail the city they're supposed to be traveling to, as well as the resources that are going to be needed in order to win the game. These are kept a secret unless you're playing the co-op version, which does exist. You can play together to help everybody accomplish their goals. So these will not be shared with other players. You just know where you're going and what you're going to need to get there. Let's say the green player is going to be traveling to Anatalone, bringing clothes, Bibles, school supplies, tools, and medicine. And the orange player is going to be traveling to Disman to bring solar lamps, fuel, medicine, clothes, and Bibles. I don't believe I explained what the spade or shovel icon does. You're able to do 3 different things, 3 actions you can take on your turn. You can draw and place a tile, you can move your missionary, or you can use a spade token. The spade token allows you to move any unoccupied tile from one place to another place, adhering to the tile placement rules, which means no diagonals, no just arbitrary spaces between things, and you can't have bushes going up against a road path or vice versa. Those are pretty much the placement rules. So the shovel just lets you move stuff around. So, and much like the other resources here, you can only have 1 shovel at a time. The same for everything else. 1 at a time. So I'll say the green player goes first, and the numbers on the die dictate how many actions you can take. So if you have 4, you could pull out 3 tiles, place them, and then move once. You could pull out 2 tiles, place them, move twice. Any combination. Like I said, you can only use 1 shovel token per turn though. You only have 1 at a time anyway, so it's not even a thing. And you get them by rolling the 2. So green player's gonna go, they're gonna roll. They got 2, so they're gonna take a shovel token. That's now theirs, and they're going to draw a tile and place it because they have 2 actions. So if their second action is to move to this tile, they have the food icon, and they're going to take food. Now, if you look at their card, you'll notice that they don't need food where they're going, but that's what you got. So there you go. That's 2 actions, draw in place, and then move. That's 2 actions. The orange player rolled 4, so they're going to draw 2 tiles. Now, the second player is coming all the way over here, whereas the first player is going all the way over here. The cards are just shuffled and random, so you can, yeah. And I don't think the rules specify. I think because if you look, there's only 4 different cities in the corner. So I believe if you get the same location as somebody else, it might be the same place, which might be bringing different things there. So I guess it's really a race to help people, which I guess is good to think about. All right, so they're gonna place this tile, and you have the crisis token for Bibles. Nobody has a Bible, so nobody can do anything about that now. And let's see, now they've connected this right here. So that's 2 actions. They drew 2 tiles placed. So let's say, okay, now going to Dice Mon, they're going to definitely need solar lamps. So let's say they move 2, 1, 2. That's 4 actions. 2, drawing and placing, and then moving 2 tiles. Moving your meeple 1 tile is an action in of itself. And they're going to take a solar lamp. So that is how Mission Ends of the Earth plays. When I played this game, I did have fun with it. There is a game here. It's not just about the theme. There's an actual game here. The structure of it makes sense. When you've gathered a resource, but then somebody picks up a tile that has one of the crossouts on it, one of the crisis tokens or crisis icons, means that everybody would sacrifice that particular resource to help someone else. It just goes back into the box or a pile or what have you. But thematically, that is the idea of making a sacrifice and sharing something with somebody else. Even though you need it, you're recognizing that somebody else is a greater need, and you're putting them and ahead of yourself, which makes complete sense. It goes along with the sacrifice of Christ. All those things makes complete sense. The one thing that was kind of interesting is the spade icon, the shovel. That I don't know how that I don't know how that works thematically to move a top. Like I know, and I I'm not saying this is a huge detractor. It just was interesting to me because the crisis token makes sense. Hey, these people need water more, or need need clothing more than the people you're currently helping. Fine. Triaging of needs and things like that makes complete sense. The gaminess of it, of using the spade token to physically move a piece from one place to another. Not that it breaks it, it just makes it kind of like, well, how was that thematic? Like, if we're all trying to deliver food, water, solar lamps, school supplies, etc., to people who have a need, what does it say if I'm spending a token? Oh, you can only have one at a time. So okay, you can only have one at a time. But even though you're on the cusp of actually supplying something to people and giving them what they need and delivering the gospel of Jesus Christ to them, all of a sudden I'm like, nah, I'm gonna spend this token and move this tile to the other side of the board, and then I'm gonna use one of the airship icons to fly over to my town and get there first, and then I've won the game. And it doesn't break it. It just makes it kind of like, what? That's not thematic, but it's fine. It doesn't. I say that kind of jokingly, but it just made it kind of funny to see that. We'll just recognize that it didn't really fit along with the actual theme of the game. But a lot of games have that issue where you're doing something that is for the sake of a game mechanic, not because of the theme. No, that's fine. There's thousands and thousands of games that do that. It just made it kind of funny to me. So all in all, I would recommend this game. I feel like if you're a hobbyist, you probably have access to a lot of games where you are picking up and delivering and placing tiles. Yeah. Even if you are a Christian, if you have young kids, go for it. But if you don't, you probably have a lot of other things that you could probably play. It's not a bad game. There is a game here. Don't get me wrong. There is a game here. I would just recommend it to somebody who specifically wants a game with these types of mechanics, with the additional Christian theme included. And there is an audience for that. And I feel like this will be a great game for that audience. Now for me, this is one that's gonna make it to the table a lot, probably because my kids are older, and for the audience that it's supposed to be serving, it's a fun game. And it's not overly complicated. And there is a co-op element to it as well, which helps. So anyway, I've rambled on enough. Those are my thoughts. Recommended to the audience for which it's intended. Anyway, thank you for watching. Take care, stay safe, and be blessed.